Hello and welcome to Photo Reviews. Today let's have a look at two saloons that are a common sight on Kenyan roads, and each of them has its own strong points and weak points, but generally both are decent cars, so it can be very challenging to make a decision on which one exactly to go for. So in this particular episode we are going to compare them to help you decide on which one would be the most suitable alternative. Before we start, I'll kindly request you to subscribe to the channel for more informative content on cars as well as bikes. Going by YouTube statistics, only about less than 20% of the viewers subscribe, but the rest don't. So please consider subscribing. It will be a huge support to the channel and your support will be very much appreciated. A great appreciation to all those who watch, subscribe and give a like to these videos. I really hope they help someone out in one way or another. So straight into the comparison review. The two cars we are going to be comparing are the 2015 Nissan Sylphy and the 2015 Mazda Axela, the saloon version. So beginning with the price, the 2015 Sylphy will set you back between 1.25 to around 1.65 million shillings, depending on the trim level and mileage. The Axela, on the other hand, is more expensive, going for between 1.5 to around 2.1 million, again depending on the mileage and trim level. So the Axela is the more expensive car here, but as we proceed we will try and see if indeed the more affordable Sylphy offers more value for money. So please stay tuned for that. Moving on to the engine options, there are two in the Sylphy: a 1600cc petrol if you go for the Singapore imports, and an 1800cc if you go for the Japan imports. Both engine options come coupled to a CVT gearbox. In terms of power, these engines are very decent for short as well as long distances, and as expected the 1800cc is slightly more powerful than the 1600cc. In terms of reliability, again they are decent enough, but as for the gearbox, as you may have already heard, there is always the chance of CVT failure, especially if you tend to drive for long distances frequently. That's why it's important to install an aftermarket transmission cooler. Moving on to the Axela, there are four engine options: a 1500cc petrol, a 2000cc petrol, a 2000cc hybrid that is sourced from Toyota Prius, and lastly the 2200cc turbo diesel that has also been used in the CX-5 and Atenza. These engines can come paired to either of the three gearbox options available. There's a 6-speed manual, a 6-speed automatic, and an eCVT exclusively for the hybrid. Now the 1500 and 2000cc petrol engines are the most reliable, the simplest and the most affordable to maintain. So if you want ease of maintenance and decent performance, then get either of those two engine options. And as expected, the 2000cc is more powerful than the 1500cc, but even in terms of long distance drives, both will perform perfectly well. You may just slightly feel the need for more power in the 1500cc, especially if you have passengers in the car and you are driving uphill. The more complex 2000cc hybrid, as I said earlier, is basically a Prius hybrid. So in terms of reliability, it's expected that it will fare well, but as we all know, at some point you will have to replace the hybrid batteries and it will be expensive. A hybrid will only make financial sense if you buy one with very low mileage, such that by the time the batteries are due for replacement, the fuel savings made will be more than the cost of battery replacement. Someone had asked at around what mileage would I regard as low with regard to hybrid cars. Now to answer that question, we must first understand that most hybrid batteries last around 10 years, or in terms of mileage around 200,000 kilometers, but it has been reported that some cars can go up to 250,000 kilometers. So my advice is that don't go for a hybrid car that has more than 50,000 kilometers. Just get one with under 50,000 kilometers so that you will be able to really maximize on the hybrid battery's life. On to the diesel engine. This is one engine that has disappointed people, partly because of the lack of proper attention and maintenance that modern diesels require, and also partly due to the issues inherent to this particular engine, which include weak head gaskets and also issues with the cooling system. I actually did a video on Mazda diesel engine maintenance where I tried to discuss the issues with this particular 2200cc and how one simple issue can lead to several other complex issues. I'll leave a link to that video in the description box. Generally, diesel engines require more attention when it comes to maintenance, and they are also slightly more expensive to maintain compared to the petrol engines. So you really have to be careful with things such as the quality of diesel, the engine oil that you use, the DPF or diesel particulate filter, and even the service intervals. In fact, do not risk extending the minor service intervals just to do the minor service after 5,000 kilometers. Times you may hear somewhere that the minor service can be conducted at 10,000 kilometers because the manufacturer states so. Remember this, the road conditions in those developed countries where these cars come from is very different from our road conditions. So do the service after 5,000 kilometers. This 2200cc diesel is very powerful, yet also very economical. It's really a joy to drive this particular engine, but you must also know that you will need to be very careful with the maintenance, otherwise you may end up regretting. Let's now see how fuel efficient each of these engines are. The 1600cc in the Sylphy can get between 10 to around 19 kilometers per liter. In relatively heavy traffic, it can get around 10 kilometers per liter, while on the highway it can get up to around 19 kilometers per liter. Always bear in mind that your driving style and how you maintain the car will also affect the fuel consumption. The 1800cc can get between 10 to around 16 kilometers per liter, that is in traffic around 10 kilometers per liter, and on the highway up to around 16 kilometers per liter. 1500cc in the Axela can achieve between 11 to around 17 kilometers per liter. So here we see that the 1600cc in the Sylphy is slightly more fuel efficient compared to the 1500cc in the Axela. This slight difference may be caused by two factors. The first one is the gearbox. CVTs normally enable for better fuel consumption, so that's why the 1600cc in the Sylphy is slightly more efficient than the 1500cc in the Axela that mostly comes with the conventional 6-speed automatic. The second reason is that the Sylphy is lighter than the Axela, as we will see in a short while. The 2000cc in the Axela can achieve roughly around 14 kilometers per liter. In traffic, it may get to even less than 10 kilometers per liter depending on how heavy the traffic is. The hybrid, on the other hand, can get up to an impressive 27 kilometers per liter, and lastly, the diesel can achieve up to around 18 kilometers per liter. The Sylphy has a 52-liter fuel tank, while the Axela a 51-liter tank. As for the brakes, both cars get ventilated discs at the front and solid discs at the back. The Sylphy has a carb weight of around 1240 kgs, and the Axela roughly around 1300 kgs. Onto the ground clearance, the Sylphy is better in this regard. It has a clearance of around 165 millimeters, which is the recommended clearance in Kenya. So you will not have to worry much about scratching the vehicle's underside, but once the car is loaded with 3 passengers at the back plus some luggage in the boot, then that good clearance will certainly reduce. The Axela, on the other hand, has a clearance of around 155 millimeters, which is slightly low, so you will have to watch out for uneven road surfaces and big bumps. Lastly, both cars come well equipped in terms of the extra features, especially the Axela, which can come with features such as a heads-up display, leather interior, electric front seats, an MZD Connect infotainment system, cruise control, a sunroof, paddle shifts, a Bose premium audio system, and even some active driver assist safety features such as blind spot alert, smart city brake support, lane departure alert, adaptive front lighting system, and many more. You can just see how cars of today have been transformed into computers. They are not like the older cars which had almost no safety features, so the owners died like real men in the unfortunate case of an accident. The Sylphy also comes with some nice features such as rear AC vents, dual zone AC, LED lights, navigation, alloy wheels, and fog lights. So with the specifications out of the way, let's talk about their exterior and interior designs. Do let me know which one you would prefer in terms of the exterior look. I think many will agree that the Axela beats the Sylphy hands down. It really does look good. That Kodo design was a sure bet. It brings out a cocktail of premiumness, elegance, and sportiness. The Sylphy also looks good, and it tends to have a more subtle and mature look. Into the interior design, the Axela again takes the day, thanks to its premium look and feel. It's a big step up compared to the Sylphy's interior design that is more basic but very functional. In terms of the space, the Sylphy is the clear winner. It has very good space at the front and back rows. It's also more comfortable, especially for the back passengers who even get the rear AC vents. The boot is again more spacious compared to that of the Axela. The Axela has limited rear seat space. The legroom is not that good. It's a bit cramped, and even the boot is not as spacious as that of the Sylphy. Mazdas tend to have limited interior space compared to Hondas and even Nissans. Look at even the Nissan Note and Mazda Demio. In fact, when you compare the wheelbase of the Sylphy and Axela, they are similar, both measuring around 2700 millimeters. Yet the Sylphy still has more interior space. In terms of the overall length, the Sylphy is longer, measuring in at around 46-15 millimeters, while the Axela Saloon measures around 45-80 millimeters. The hatchback is even shorter, measuring in at around 44-60 millimeters. So generally, in terms of interior space and comfort, the Sylphy is the clear winner. So now, which one between these two saloons should you go for? Now, the Sylphy is the most affordable car here. It's the most spacious and it has better ground clearance. Its weak points are its already mentioned CVT gearbox, and something else is that generally Nissans of today are not that well built compared to a few years back. You may tend to start noticing some rattles in the car, and even as the car starts aging, they will increase. Their bodies are not that rigid, so as they begin to age, these rattles and squeaks may increase. I don't think I'll mention poor resale value because the resale value will largely depend on how you maintain any car. Yes, the car brand also influences the resale value, but the most important aspect is the maintenance. The Axela, on the other hand, is more sporty and engaging to drive. It looks very nice and it is filled with many features. Weak points are its price. It's a bit more expensive than the Sylphy. Then it has a low ground clearance. And lastly, it has limited interior space. So putting all these factors into consideration, my recommendation would be the Axela Saloon. It is more expensive, but it offers quite a lot. It has the looks, it feels and looks very premium in the interior. It drives very well and it's filled to the brim with features. In my opinion, the Axela justifies its higher price. It's a higher quality car compared to the Sylphy. Now, that said, the Sylphy is not a bad car, and in fact, if you are on a tight budget, it's one of the very decent cars that you can buy. With around 1.25 million shillings, you can get yourself a basic trim level Nissan Sylphy. Yes, being the basic trim level, it will not have many features, but it will offer you the space and comfort, good fuel economy, and even decent ground clearance. Invest some money in an aftermarket transmission cooler and you will be able to take it out on long journeys. So it's a very decent option. Let me know which one you would go for. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks a lot for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel for more informative content on cars as well as bikes. You can also use the details in the description box to support the production of this content by donating. Your support will be much appreciated. That's it for this episode. Stay safe, drive safe. See you in the next one.